Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, let us see about ignoring files. So basically, we can tell Git which files and directories that we want to ignore in the given repository. So for that, we can use the .gitignore file in the repository. So this will be useful for files we know that it's not going to be used or we don't want to commit. So for those files, we can include in the .gitignore file. For example, see if there is any secret files or credentials or any API keys and operating system related files and log files and any dependencies and packages. So those kind of files we don't need means we can include them in the .gitignore file so that we don't want to commit and Git will not track those files. So .gitignore, which is create a file called .gitignore in the root of a repository that we are working, and inside the file we can write patterns to tell Git which files and folders we want to exclude. So for example, for here like a secrets, it will ignore a file name secret. And if you want to include a folder name, then it has to be the folder name followed by the slash. So that will ignore the entire directory. And we can also use the wildcard here. For example, star.log means it will ignore any file extension with the .log extension. Okay, so now let us see some demo here. I'm going to create a directory called git ignore demo and cd into that. And now if I run git status, fatal not a git repository, and to initialize as the repository, we can run the git init command. Okay, now if I run git status, okay, now we are seeing a different message here. Now if I create any file, for example, I'm creating a empty file, and now if I run git status, it says there is a untracked files file.txt. So I need to add git add dot, and now if I run git status, changes to be committed. So we can run git commit. Okay, now here we need to enter the message. Okay, one file changed. If I now run git status, nothing to commit and working tree clean. Okay, so now if I want to add a new file and I don't want Git to track that file means I need to create a file called .gitignore, and then we can specify the file that Git should not track means we can add it there. Okay, let me create .gitignore, and here I'm going to mention wall.txt. Okay, let me run git status and git add git commit sm creating gitignore file. Okay, because we want to track the .gitignore file, but we don't want to track the file that we are going to add into this gitignore file. So let me create a file called wall.txt. Okay, now if I run git status, we can see that working tree clean because we have this wall.txt added into the .gitignore file, so that git will not track this file. So let me add another file. So let me add a folder now. So you need to mention the slash at the end. And now if I create a directory called test and run git status, okay, let's git add and git commit. Okay, so it's not complaining about the test folder that we created. We just need to commit the .ignore file so that whatever we put inside that file, that will be ignored, and we don't need to run the commit for that. Okay, so using this site, we can find out some of the default, the gitignore files for the project. For example, if I want to find out what are the gitignore files for Python, I can mention Python here and click on create. So you can create a .ignore file with all these file extension, and so that the Git will not track all these files. And there is a Git ignore documentation page as well from the gitsem.com, and you can go through this as well. It specify intentionally untracked files to ignore. Okay, you can find the pattern format and the configuration here and the examples. So you can go through all this documentation. And this is the GitHub page for ignoring files. So you can create a .ignore file in your repository, which is under the root directory, and we can create it, and you can update that file, which are the files that you want to exclude, and configuring ignore the files for all repositories on your computer. So for that, you can create a ignore file under this location. So if it is not exist already, you can create one and update it so that all those files in any of the repositories can be ignored. And this is for excluding local files without creating a .ignore file. So you can just create the file in this location if you don't want to use the .gitignore. Okay, so that's it in this video, and I'll see you in the next. Thank you.